Hey everybody, Mr. Gibson here from Fox Ridge Farm. Want to go over a couple of things with you. We're really excited about all the pork we've been getting in. We know that some of the stuff that we're getting may be a little different for you, like the thick cut pork chops we're going to talk about today. We're going to talk about how to cook those and how to make sure we cook those right. Miss Gibson's going to come in today and right here in Gibson Kitchen and give us a little tutorial on how to cook these beautiful pork chops. What we have today, these are Kune Kune Pork Chops. You can see right there, you can see that extra layer of fat on that outside, which is very common with the Kune Kune pigs. Now these, I've specifically picked out to be a little bit smaller. We have some that are larger as well, but these are a little bit smaller from what you would find from a normal pig, but they should be full of flavor, and we're really excited. We're gonna be using, what you would need today is gonna be salt, pepper, some oil, and your chops, and a cast iron skillet, and a stove and oven. That's all you need to make some really nice Kune Kune pork chops.
Hey everybody, thanks for the intro, Mr. Gibson. So I wanted to share with you some of the things that I'm going to be using to cook these thick cut Kune Kune pork chops. So I've got some kosher salt. It's a little coarser than regular salt, and I like that for a good crust. Some pepper, and I've also got some avocado oil that I'm going to be using to kind of coat the pork chops so that the seasoning will stick, and also protects them in the stove or in the oven as well. So one other thing that you're going to need is a meat thermometer. It's really important to cook pork to the right temperature because it can make you sick otherwise. So pork goes to 145, so we're going to be testing these as we cook them. We're going to start out in a cast iron skillet, and then we're going to finish it in the oven. So go ahead and preheat your oven to 400. And we're going to get this pan screaming hot. All right guys, we're ready to start cooking this pork. So one of the first things you need to do is get your oil. I'm using a brush. You can pour it on and rub it on, but that's your business, how you want to do that. So I'm brushing all sides of this with the oil. So go ahead and get in there, all sides. You want to keep one hand clean and one hand touching the meat so you don't cross-contaminate anything in your kitchen or your spices. So make sure you get all sides. You can see my pan over here is smoking and getting really hot. So that's awesome. These are gonna give a nice sizzle when they get in there. So the next thing you wanna do is get your salt. In the words of my granddad, if you think you have enough salt, add some more. Salt really draws out the flavor of pork, so don't forget to like really go for it, okay? I know it's probably scary to add this much salt, but it's really gonna make it delicious and give you a nice crust on that. So we're gonna get both of them over here. Make sure you get that fat side. Make sure you get all sides, and then we're gonna go in with just a little bit of pepper on top. My pan's ready for me. All right, then we're gonna go in with the pork. That's exactly what you wanna hear. Now once you go in with it, don't mess with it. Let it sear for 2 minutes on each side. Don't mess around with it. Don't flip it up and down. That's how you develop that crust. Okay, these have been going for about 2 minutes on this first side, so we're gonna flip them and take a look at that crust. Oh yeah. Beautiful. So we're gonna let these go on 2 minutes on this side, and we're gonna toss them in the oven, 400 degrees, and you're gonna cook them 5 minutes for each inch of thickness. So in our case, it's gonna be about 7 to 8 minutes. So one thing I'm gonna do before these go in the oven is just get a little bit of color on that fat, just to kind of render it down a little bit so it's not quite as chewy and it starts to kind of get its goodness into the pan. So I'm doing that for both of these just a little bit since these are so thick and they have such a pronounced fat layer on them. And the next step is going directly into the oven. Here we go. All right, guys, we're going into the oven. Again, 400 degrees. We're gonna go for 7 to 8 minutes. So about 7 minutes are up, so we're gonna pull it out and see what we've got going on. Oh yeah. So what we're gonna do now is just check the temp on this. You gotta make sure when you're checking the temperature of meat, that's the other side crust. Oh yeah. That you go into the thickest part of it. We still got a little bit to go on getting the inside up to temp. So it's going back in the oven for a little bit longer. Okay guys, we have arrived at 145 on our meat thermometer, so go ahead and pull that out. So this next step is probably the most important step in the cooking process of any meat, but especially these pork chops, the resting phase. So what we're gonna do now is just let them rest. Just chill out, hang out, do their thing right here in this pan for at least 10 minutes. This will cause, when you cut into it, for the juices not to run everywhere. It'll make them nice and juicy and tender for you. So just wait about 10 minutes before you cut into them. Okay guys, it's time for the moment of truth. So we're going to take our meat out. We're gonna cut it out and see how it looks on the inside. Well, look at that beauty. All right, next, let's serve it up. So now we've finished. With this, you can pair really anything you want with it. Pork is very versatile, but for us tonight, we're gonna have a baked sweet potato. Another thing you can do is have some baked sweet potatoes and apples. Put those in the oven for a little bit and roast those. That would be super delicious. But tonight, we're having a baked sweet potato and some really leftover rice. Don't come at me for not having any vegetables. Mr. Gibson didn't want them. So this is our dinner tonight. I hope you enjoy your Fox Ridge Farm Kune Kune Pork Chops.